A routine lift inside the factory turned into a reminder of why heavy loads must never be handled by hand. A worker was attaching crane wires to a heavy metal frame so it could be lifted. Before the task was fully secured, the crane began raising the load. The frame shifted, lost balance, and as the worker tried to steady it with his hands, the weight tipped and trapped him underneath. Workers should never stand beneath or attempt to control heavy loads by hand. All lifting must be properly rigged, balanced, and guided with safe equipment. Clear zones around suspended loads are critical to protect everyone on the floor. A cart was stacked high with bundles of green fodder, its weight making it unstable. Nearby, a child approached and tried to lift the cart handle. Because of the load's imbalance, the cart tipped suddenly, pulling the child upward with it. Fortunately, his mother was close enough to intervene immediately, preventing what could have been a dangerous situation. Heavy carts and equipment should never be left where children can reach them. Unstable loads can tip with very little force, creating unexpected hazards. Keeping work areas supervised and separating children from heavy equipment is essential to prevent accidents. A worker was breaking the base of a wall, seated close to the structure, but the wall collapsed sooner than expected, falling toward him. In a split second, he moved clear, avoiding the danger just in time. Always keep a safe distance when weakening a wall. Unstable structures can fall without warning, and proper planning is the only way to stay safe. A worker was inspecting a large outdoor air conditioning unit that had been loaded onto a truck. At first, everything seemed normal as the unit was running, but within moments, due to an internal fault, the system sparked and suddenly caught fire. The flames grew quickly, turning into a massive blaze right on the truck bed. Acting fast, the worker unplugged the burning unit and with great effort pulled it down from the truck. The heavy equipment fell off to the ground, saving the truck and preventing the fire from spreading further. Air conditioning units and other electrical equipment should never be tested or inspected while mounted on transport vehicles. Always confirm that the system is switched off and properly grounded before approaching. Electrical fires can escalate in seconds, so workers must be trained to use the right fire safety equipment instead of relying on quick manual action. Inside a metal factory, workers were repositioning a large steel frame with the help of an overhead crane. One worker stood in the middle, guiding the placement, but his position brought him too close to the suspended load. Without warning, the crane's lifting wires gave out, and the heavy frame dropped straight down into the area where he was standing. In that instant, nearby workers rushed to respond, and the scene highlighted just how fast equipment failure can change a routine task. When working with cranes or suspended materials, operators and ground workers must maintain a safe distance at all times. Regular inspection of lifting wires, hooks, and slings is essential before every lift. A worker was operating a log rounding machine, feeding wood into the rollers as part of the job. At first, everything looked normal as the machine processed the log. But after a short while, the worker unexpectedly placed his hand near the moving rollers, an area that should always remain clear. In an instant, his hand was pulled inside by the rotating parts. Nearby, workers reacted quickly, rushing to shut the machine down before the situation escalated further. The entire moment shows how a brief lapse in attention can create sudden danger around heavy equipment. Machines like log rounders are designed for precision and strength, but they demand constant caution. Operators should never reach into active rollers or moving parts, no matter how minor the adjustment may seem. Proper training, clear safety zones, and emergency stop procedures are critical to prevent accidents. In industrial environments, staying alert isn't just recommended. It's the only way to keep both the job and the workers safe. Inside a factory, a worker was standing near a conveyor belt system. A metal frame, part of the moving belt, was cycling through as usual. The worker's hand entered the path of the moving frame and became caught. Fortunately, co-workers nearby reacted quickly, shutting the system down and freeing him from the situation before it escalated. Conveyors and moving machinery should never be approached while in operation. Hands, tools, and clothing must be kept clear of pinch points and moving parts. Emergency stops, training, and proper guarding are key safeguards in preventing accidents. Because even equipment running empty can still be dangerous if safety zones aren't respected. 2 workers were positioned at the back of an oil tanker, performing repair work with welding equipment. At first, the process appeared stable, with no visible issues, but after a short while, the conditions inside the tanker reacted to the heat. In an instant, the tanker erupted, releasing a massive burst that spread through the area. What seemed like an ordinary task escalated in seconds, showing the hidden risks of working with fuel containers. Welding or cutting should never be performed on fuel tanks unless they have been fully emptied, cleaned, and certified safe. Even small amounts of vapor can ignite under heat and cause dangerous explosions. Proper preparation, gas monitoring, and adherence to strict safety procedures are the only way to prevent such incidents. A worker was adjusting a metal ladder on the roof, but as he moved it, the ladder made contact with an overhead power line. The electrical current caused him to lose balance, and he fell from the roof. Always keep ladders and tools clear of power lines. Maintain safe distances, use insulated equipment, and plan before climbing. Electricity leaves no room for error. 2 workers were positioned on top of a gas tanker, repairing the lid while the tank was still filled. As they worked, gas suddenly began escaping under pressure. The workers tried briefly to contain it, but the force was overwhelming, forcing them to step back and climb down to safety. The leak grew rapidly, with visible gas clouds spreading into the air, noticeable even from a distance. On the ground, others recognized the risk and began moving away as the vapor spread across the area. Moments later, the escaping gas ignited, and flames quickly engulfed the surrounding space, a clear demonstration of how fast a leak can escalate into fire. Repairs on fuel or gas containers should never be attempted when the tank is full. All work must follow strict safety protocols, including ventilation, grounding, and gas detection systems. Workers should be trained to recognize the first signs of a leak and evacuate immediately, leaving response to specialized emergency teams. When it comes to flammable materials, prevention and preparation are the only real safeguards.